Good morning. It's August 22nd. It's a Monday. I'm going along the creek as usual. Sorry there wasn't anything over the weekend, but I was selling books at Sask Expo Regina, our local Comic-Con style event. And although I had some hope of maybe walking around the convention, I just wasn't able to pull it off. I'd never had anybody at my table. I didn't want to take that much time away from my table because I didn't have anybody to help me sell. I could have found somebody to man it for a few minutes. My daughter was there for a bit, but too complicated to tell her how to sell things, so I didn't want to lose the opportunity. So it was quite a successful weekend, at least for me, hopefully for the organizers, but for me as a vendor, I did quite well. Sold a lot of books. Actual number of books, maybe 90 actual books, and just under $1,200 in sales, which is pretty good for me. I don't know how that compares to the more core vendors at these things who sell, t-shirts and artwork and anime stuff. I don't know what they would think of my sales, but for me, based on historical attempts at this, that's quite good. And I had a really good weekend in Saskatchewan earlier in April, so I felt like there was maybe some pent-up demand. I think we'll go this way to start. Oops. Get onto the dike down this street. A little different. It's quite a lovely sunny day, but it is quite warm already. It feels warm. It's supposed to be quite warm today again. In the sun it felt warm, and the shade is quite cool. It's funny how that works. It's like that big ball of nuclear fusion in the sky affects the temperature. Who knew? Good morning, Kirk in Vancouver. Why is this being jerky? Ooh, a bunch of birds suddenly came whizzing out of that yard. So of course, once I've done the walk, I have to unload all the books from the back of the car. It's while I'm doing that I think, ebooks, really, there's a lot to be said for ebooks. And their complete lack of weight. Here's Henderson Terrace, the Heritage Row houses here. Built in 1913. It did it again. Don't understand. Is my gimbal starting to fail? That would be annoying. These things aren't cheap. I mean, there's newer versions of them than this one, but I've already bought two of them because the first one failed and the gimbal itself didn't fail, but the charger plug-in failed. I couldn't charge it anymore. The batteries. And then I get to go deposit my money at the bank, the stuff that came in by cash. I also use a Square reader, which deposits automatically, but cash deposits I have to deposit. And yes, I do deposit them into the bank so that I can account for them in taxes. I don't just keep the cash on the side. I say that in case Revenue Canada is listening. But it's true. It did it again. Huh. It seems to be working normally, but every so often it just flops off to the side there. We're going to turn off the gimbal and turn it back on here. Or maybe I won't. It won't even let me turn it off. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So we will let it flop like that. I'll turn it back on. It'll go that way to start with. Okay, well, let's see if the tried and tested approach of turning it off and turning it on again fixes the problem. one of our purple trees. I don't know what those are. Anybody watching knows what turns purple in the summer. Late summer, almost fall. I hear geese calling up there, but I don't think they're quite heading south just yet. Won't be long though. I'll start seeing those skeins of geese flying across the sky that I saw during last fall's migration period. If I walk around sunset, especially, you'll see them in this neighborhood. That tree's been deliberately trimmed to allow for the power lines, why it looks like that. You can see lots of berries on that bush, not bushes on that berry. Here's the dike, up which we shall climb. Parkland. Don't have to take the stairs, I can just climb up the bank. I'll do that to be different today. There's the creek, as promised. Oh, quite warm in the sun up here. I will work up a sweat this morning's walk. Just thought you'd like to know. So what do I have to do now? I have a bunch of editing to do still. Shadowpaw Press is publishing a poetry collection called Phases by Belinda Betker. And she's revised it from the original version, which was published by Cato Books, which went bankrupt a couple of years ago. And it's been picked to be featured in Saskatchewan Book Week, which comes up at the end of September. It's not actually published yet. So got to get on that one. She has turned in her final revisions. She's still writing a foreword and acknowledgements. And I have to give it my edit. So I think that's now jumped to the top of my editing queue. Watching the reflections of the cars going by on the water. There's also a freelance editing job I'm doing on a novel that's overdue. I got to get that finished. Then I have a chapter of someone I've been mentoring, working with for a long time, which he's waiting for me to get back to him with. And then, of course, I have other stuff coming up from Shadowpaw Press. The Crow Who Tampered with Time is almost ready to go, really. But I have to do the back cover. Get all that out. I have a short story that has to be written right away for Shapers of Worlds Volume 3, the third anthology I started featuring guests on my podcast. I'm the only one whose story is not in. I know what it's going to be. I just have to do that nasty typing bit. So yeah, lots to do. My daughter goes back to university on Wednesday. Nice having her here all summer. Working at EYES Camp, educating youth in engineering and science at the University of Regina. She had a good summer, I think. She got to go out to Cypress Hills for their astronomy portion of their camp. The EYES people did programming at the observatory out in Cypress Hills, so she got to go out and camp out there and do programming at the observatory. Heading to the Neil Balkwell Art Center here, so there's some civic art. It's called the Civic Art Center. There's some civic art right here. Those two line up right about there. It's a seniors activity center over there, and the Neil Balkwell Center directly ahead of us. Home to the Art Gallery of Regina, and you can take art classes there, which I'm always surprised I haven't done, because I loved doing art, and yet somehow I haven't made time for it in my life. Maybe today to be different. I'll cut through the parking lot and we'll go up the street over there. There's a path through the trees. A little sore today from standing up for 8 hours on Saturday and 7 hours yesterday. Rarely sitting down, and only for a minute or two when I did. So I was essentially on my feet the entire time. I mean, I'm glad I can still do that. But I do feel a little, not exactly sore, but I can tell that I was doing something unusual for the last 2 days. I don't know what this street is called, actually. I should know. Like most areas now, it has some new houses in it. New house over there. But it still has some older houses as well. This one would be an older one. That one would be a newer one, I think. Yeah, for sure. The older ones never have garages in the front. New ones often do. That one has a gargoyle or two, winged gargoyles even. I like gargoyles. Oh yeah, and that one you always pops out at you when you drive by because it's bright orange. Argyle. I should know that. Yes, that's Argyle Street. Okay, now I'll come down to Pasqua and back along the creek. Comes Argyle, then comes McTavish. Oh, McTavish. Very Scottish. Very Scottish. There's a sign telling us what we were just looking at. Cyclist going down the wrong side of the road. Start to see some trees have lots of seed pods now. Almost makes them look like they're yellow, but they're not really going yellow yet. It's just the seed pods popping up. There's also a hint of yellow here and there. This time of year I usually hope it's more to do with heat stress than with it being fall almost. But it is the first sign of it. The leaves are getting old. It's a street. I need to look and see if there's some other conventions that it might make sense to get a table at. If the tables aren't very expensive and the convention, like a teacher's convention or something, is here in Regina, I don't do $1,000 in sales at a non-genre convention, but I could probably cover my table costs and get some good publicity out of it, potentially pick up new contacts for my newsletter, which, if you're interested, if you go to my website, edwardwillett.com, 2 T's, you'll see a spot over on the right-hand sidebar where you can sign up for my newsletter. I don't send it out all that often, maybe every month, 6 weeks. You'd get an email, the latest news. And I'll be starting one just for Shadowpaw Press, which will be different. And I will probably automatically send that to my subscribers, but of course they can opt out and unsubscribe. There's I'm moving over to Active Campaign from MailChimp. I'm still feeling my way with that, and again, everything takes time, and time is very short, in very short supply for me right now because of all the editing jobs and publishing stuff that needs to be done, so it's difficult to prioritize some of these. Especially, and that's the day, some days I let the walk go for that very reason. It just feels like I can't spare an hour right now. But I don't want to do that very often because eventually you quit doing it altogether if you let that mindset take hold. As I know from previous exercising efforts of mine over the years. That one's definitely some yellow leaves in that one. I hope it's just that tree, not a sign of fall. Whereas over there, that's seed pods in that one. That's Saskatchewan Express directly in front of us. Might go over and walk that side just to stretch it out just a few minutes more and pick up the creek down there. Let's see what the traffic's doing if I can cross. Sask Express is the black and yellow building. That's a performing arts company and school. And then there's apartment buildings behind there, the higher buildings behind that. But I'll only cross if I get a break here in the traffic so I don't have to wait for oncoming cars. Which it looks like I can do right now. So, Sask Express. Should be a sign somewhere. There it is. Sask Express. 2272 Pasqua. Clearly, kids are being dropped off for some sort of program right now. This this way. That shipping container's been there forever. I guess they probably use it as external storage. Props or whatever, be my guess. I don't know for sure. And there's a big parking lot here. There's Baseball Diamond, and that's the Louvain over there, the faster north-south route. I'll go up here by the canoes, which are used by the school board for phys ed classes. I think, primarily, maybe only. It's the only time I've ever seen them used, anyway. Get down onto the regular path, and we'll turn left and start the trek back towards the house along the creek. More along the creek than I have been so far. There's the path. Both ways for bikes. Those last two went zipping by at a pretty good rate. Right, and we'll go along the path the rest of the way home, except for the last couple of blocks. There's the Pasco Street Bridge. A much ignored sign. Never seen a cyclist dismount going under this bridge. Suppose it could happen. Peaceful and shady under here. A lot of weed and algae growth in the creek right now, if you get late in the summer. It's not a very fast-flowing body of water, so plenty of opportunity for things to grow in it. Very placid, I think would be the word. Also, of course, over-fertilized because of runoff from yards and gardens and things. The lake itself used to be awful until they deepened it. It's better now, but it's fairly green this time of year as well. The aeration fountains that I walk by when I go around the lake help with that as well. It's very lush looking though. Now, you can actually go right down to the water here. And in the wintertime, I've come down this way and walked on the ice, but obviously not going to try that right now. There's a view of the bridge there, again through the leaves. About 3 months, would that be right? September, October, November? No, probably not, but certainly by 4 months I can probably walk on the ice if I want. That's how close it is. Could frost. But sometime in the next month we'll probably get our first frost. That will start killing the flowers. So they're on their last few weeks of glory here. Glory days. They pass you by, glory days. In the wink of a young girl's eye, glory days, glory days. He was not singing about flowers, but it works. Ever since I rebooted the gimbal, I quit doing that weird jerking off to the side thing, so that's good. If you're just joining me, it was doing that when I first started. Change hands. My right hand is getting tingly. Thing I have to do today is mail some books. So Andrew, if you're watching this, and I know you and your wife have, I will get those books in the mail today. And thanks for your email reminding me that I hadn't. When I go down to deposit the money from the weekend, I will also mail those books. And if you'd like to buy my books, you can find them all over the place, but I do have my own online store, edwardwillettshop.com, where many of them are available, if I have them. And you can get them autographed if you order through my store. Shadowpaw Press, ones that are published by it, you can also order through shadowpawpress.com. Sign there telling us we're 2,012 kilometers from, that can't be right, London. Can't be London, England, London, Ontario, maybe. Or it was London 2012, as in the Olympics. Maybe that's what that marked. Because even London, Ontario, I would think wouldn't work. It might. I don't know what that sign meant. I must have walked by it a million times. Oh, let's take the unofficial path here. Cut off a loop of the regular path, but it looks inviting down between the trees here. Kind of a glowing silver path through the trees, what it looks like. Really just a paler green, but with the light coming from that direction, it looks silver. Mystical, even. Although if you were to follow it in search of enlightenment, you'd be sorely disappointed. Unless you were enlightened by the sight of a painted turtle, because there it is. Not a painted turtle as in the actual animal called a painted turtle, but a literal painted turtle. Okay, over the footbridge, back along the creek on the other side. I'll probably go through I think I'll go through Waterfall Park this time, so again I'll vary the walk a little bit. Let's run the other side of Elphinstone. Okay, our first chance to look at the creek in both directions, as I always do. So here's what it looks like today, looking east. And here's what it looks like looking west today. If I pulled stills off of all of my walks, I could probably do a little time lapse of the creek. Probably don't get it exactly lined up, so it wouldn't be perfect. But I'll bet you could get the sense of the changing through the seasons. Doesn't seem like a good use of my time, but I could do it. Back when they were building the Kramer IMAX Theater and I was at the Science Center, there was a vantage point. The theater is built inside what used to be a kind of a giant shed attached to the old powerhouse where they had some additional generators installed. So the framework of that shed, like the steel, became the Kramer IMAX Theater, part of it anyway. And there was a vantage point inside the old powerhouse where the Science Center is, where you could take a photo down into the interior as they were working. And for a long time I took a photo every day looking down into the interior, and another one from a vantage point by the lake looking at the exterior. And so somewhere, unless they got rid of them, there's a stack of photos, because those were film days, which could be scanned and turned into a time lapse of the building of the IMAX Theater. The technology wasn't quite there for me to do it myself at the time, but now it'd be easy, fairly easy. Still have to scan all those photos, but it'd be fairly easy. But I don't think anybody's ever done it, and I suspect the photos have either been discarded or are sitting in some kind of archive somewhere. I haven't been in the offices at the Science Center for years. Don't even know what they look like anymore. I should go up there sometime just to see. Nobody would remember me. Well, that's not true. Ryan, I think, who's the current communications person, knows who I am. He stuck there longer than I did. I was there for 5 years, and then I quit and became a freelancer, which was what I always wanted to do the most, and it was either brave or foolish. Probably foolish from an income point of view, had I kept working all these years. With an actual paycheck, I would be better off financially, that's for sure. But would I have the same satisfaction? I don't know. Sometimes I'm not very satisfied because I don't sell enough books. It's a different form of dissatisfaction, I guess. I'm satisfied with my work. I'm not satisfied with my recompensation. Okay, we will cross over, and I think we'll walk down this street instead of going along the creek this time, and get down to the waterfall park, take a look at the waterfall. Don't know why she didn't bother pressing the button. Good way to get run over, I think. Alright, we'll go down this way today. Long Elphinstone. So, the other side of the baseball diamonds I usually walk on the creek side of. What was making so much noise? It's just that little car. I thought it was a bus. Clearly a iffy muffler. City truck. Been doing maintenance down there, I guess. So if you were going to a ball game, you would drive down there. If you were waiting for a bus, you'd wait right here. If you're going to Sheldon Williams Collegiate, you'd go that way. If you're going to the airport, you'd turn right up here. Either at the end of this street or just before these condos coming up on our right. There's kind of a shortcut there if you go around them. So when we go to the airport, we go over along the road that ran by the creek, right along the path I was just following by the creek. That takes you to Pasqua, and then you go straight up Pasqua to Regina Avenue, you turn right, and you're at the airport. It's a whopping 10 minutes from our house. I think the grass is probably dry today. I could walk through the grass, but I think I will stick to the path. These condos, if you turn right there, you can get a little shortcut around to Regina Avenue and cut off a bit of this, swing to the left and then back again. You know, probably saves you 20 seconds, depending on what the lights are doing. Could save you more, I guess. So I think of these as fairly new. They've been there many years now, but I remember when they weren't there. And the strip mall over here, coming up past them, has been there a very long time, but has been redone in the not too distant past. Over there. There's a restaurant over there, which we haven't yet come into view of. Now called Tommy's, it's been other things. There's a lounge there that I've sometimes written in, but not recently. Oh, that's not there anymore. It has a For East sign on it. At least the lounge does. Oh, has it gone out of business? Maybe it has. Well, it has been a long time since I've been in there. The lounge portion at least has a For East sign on it. Okay, here's Waterfall Park. We'll go down and take the little footbridge over towards the waterfall over there. Artificial waterfall, obviously. The flowers seem to be done down in here, which... Oh, there they are over there. Okay. I thought there were some along the path, but I guess it's this portion of the path is where they are. We'll go this way, over the little footbridge. This waterfall. Shall we stop and look both ways along the creek? It's a considerably smaller creek. And it's really just the outflow from the fountain, which I think takes it directly into the river. And I'm pretty sure the water comes straight out of the river too here. It's non-potable anyway. There's a sign right here that says that. Do not enter non-potable water. You don't want to drink it. There's somebody mowing. There's a sign over there that says, don't let your dog drink it, possibly. Not sure what that sign said down by the creek. I couldn't quite make it out. It was one of those, circle with a cross through it saying don't do something. I'm not entirely sure what. Can't be swimming because there's not enough water there for a gopher to swim in, much less a human being or a dog. Right, we just got to get to the next footbridge, and then we'll walk down. Since I didn't walk down the dike coming, I'll walk down the dike going back to our street and home. And here's the footbridge. Take a look to the west. And a look to the east. And we'll go down the dike up here to this part of the walk where it says danger thin ice. Bushes continue to get taller over here after being cut down. Was that just last year? I think it was, because I remember walking when they were still tall doing this, so they must have been cut down just last year. Cleared quite low, and they're already getting high enough you can't see the creek from up here anymore. I think they trimmed them down periodically for sightline reasons so that the path doesn't feel so secluded and dark at night. Don't know that for sure, but I think that's why they do it. Or it's just because they get too tall. Same difference. So we're walking towards Albert Street, but we won't get there. There's that tree down there that's always so beautiful in the spring when it flowers. Right now it's just a tree, but at times it's quite lovely. And here's somebody's garden down here, I often point out. And a nice crop of thistles before you get down there, though. All those little fuzzy things are not part of the garden. Those are thistles. One thing you definitely don't want to walk through in bare legs. I think we quite see the Albert Street Bridge up here before I head down these stairs. Just swallowed a bug. Just a little bug, but he went down. Oh yeah, here's the Albert Street Bridge. You can just see a bit of it down there, and the apartment building that sticks up down there. You can see the flags flying on the bridge if you look real close. There was a live streamer who swallowed a fly. I don't know why he swallowed a fly. I think he'll die. It wasn't a fly though, so I'm probably okay. More like a gnat. There was a live streamer who followed a gnat. Imagine that, to swallow a gnat. I don't know why he swallowed a gnat. I need another rhyme with gnat. He may go splat. There was a live streamer who followed a spider that wiggled and jiggled and tickled inside her. Well, I'm not a her though. So spider wouldn't work. Him is a hard rhyme, now that I think about it. Bim, fim, gim. None of those work. Lim, shim, trim. Whim. There was a live streamer who just on a whim swallowed a spider who went down in him and wiggled and tickled and jiggled inside to eat up the gnat who had already died. There we go. After that, you should be able to do it as per the rhyme. There was a live streamer who swallowed a bird. How absurd to swallow a bird. He swallowed the bird to catch the spider. No, because then the rhyme still doesn't work. He swallowed this bird because just on a whim. How absurd to swallow. He swallowed the bird because just on a whim, he swallowed a spider that went down in him and wiggled and tickled inside him. Inside to catch the gnat who had already died. Could be made to work, but I don't think I'll worry about going any further. You're probably grateful. This is Leopold Crescent. And that means we are 1 block from the stop sign where I will cease and desist. From the live streaming of my perambulations. I have perambulated sufficiently, although I will perambulate my way downtown later. I won't live stream that. Usually I perambulate downtown on Tuesdays, so possibly I'll go down again tomorrow, but possibly I will do something different entirely, or possibly I will do nothing at all. But I should do something tomorrow since I didn't do anything over the weekend. I'm kind of a day in arrears. Well, only one person said hi on YouTube. Nobody said hi on Facebook. So if you were there and watching, if you are watching now, thank you for watching with me. If you just watched the replay, thank you for watching that. Don't forget to subscribe. You'll get notified every time I do this. And that way you don't miss a walk. That's it for now. Goodbye.